Here we are on Saturday, May the 2nd now. I didn't get home from the movie until like 1:30, maybe 1:30 maybe, because I had to stop off at the store and pick up some wrapping paper. But I got everything set up, and like, it might have been Minxie's fault. She might have got on my lap. I don't know. But as you can kind of see in my crack here, the sun is starting to come up. It's like 6:30 in the morning. I still wanted to go ahead and give my thoughts on the Hokum film, and I've written myself some notes in case I forget any points that I wanted to make. We'll review this later, I guess. And of course, I'm going to start off chewing up whatever that is I just found in my mouth. I'll try to be, to begin with, at least, I will try to be just like a basic, like as spoilery free as possible. Once I get into the stuff that I feel like is going to be possibly spoilery, I'll still try to like not, like give everything away. But I will warn you before we get to that point, because if you're like me, you saw this trailer with this weird bug-eyed rabbit thing, and you're like, what the fuck is this film even? I feel like it was an effective ad campaign, because it was like I didn't know what I was getting into. Basically, I'm like, what is this? Like, what is this film? I mean, maybe I just didn't see enough trailers. Maybe there were trailers later on that like gave more away. I don't know. But the basic story is the Adam Scott. That's the actor's name, right? Adam something. He goes back to where his parents were had their honeymoon. It's this inn in Ireland. And I kind of like the setting, because it's like with like the accents and all the woods around, like it kind of gives it an otherworldly vibe to begin with. And I just had another thought in my head that I was going to say. That's why the notes are here, right? But it's not spoilery. It's not spoilery. Don't say it. I don't know. I don't know what thought was in my head there. But yeah, I like that it was set in Ireland, because it kind of gave the movie a different feel to begin with. Kind of almost like a mystic, ethereal feeling to it to begin with. And I liked her characters. Maybe not the main character to begin with. But I guess that's kind of the point. You're not supposed to like him to begin with. I don't know. Even sometimes I feel like he goes a little bit. Sometimes it's like he's okay. It almost seems like there's some. I guess that's the point though. With some characters it's like he has humanity, and other characters he's just a straight out fucking dick. Though maybe you're behind him in one instance. I guess that's another thing that I should mention later. Spoilery part. So I mean, I like the characters, I like the setting, and we will get back to the bug-eyed rabbit thing, but that's later. See, now I'm going to rely too much on my notes. It's I guess jumping on the Ireland setting and the etherealness, the film did rely a lot, I felt like, on jump scares in some ways, but there was also kind of that. It was atmospheric, I guess you would call it. That's the word for it. It's very misty. If I had a critique about the movie, definitely it was too dark. Like sometimes I almost couldn't even tell what was going on because it was just too goddamn dark. you know, but I guess that helps add to the atmosphere that it's not lit very well. You know, we have dark hallways and, you know, and that sort of thing. Like, a character actually will turn on the lights, but there's not very many lights in the room, so it's still, there's a lot of there's a lot of dark areas that you're like, I guess maybe you're supposed to be like, is something standing in the dark, you know, kind of thing. What was there was an old Anna Paquin movie called, I think it was just called Darkness. And I know some other films and shows have done this, like that the was it just called The House on Haunted Hill? I don't feel like that's right. The one on Netflix that everybody went crazy for a few years ago, where there'd just be like randomly ghosts standing in the background. Like, I almost kind of wish this film had played that card, because it's like there's just so much dark. I mean, maybe there was some, and I don't know. Maybe I just didn't see it. Maybe I just didn't see it. But yes, definitely dark. Was that the end of my spoileriness? So there, like, you know, there's kind of some suspense, there's some tension, and it's not just jump scares. But I felt like there were a lot of those. So now I guess maybe that's my basic review, and I'll use that to transition into my more spoilery, what I feel are the more spoilery parts. You know, so if I liked the film, I enjoyed the film. You know, it was entertaining. I felt like it was a good old, you know, horror film. Like, there was this mystery to solve. Maybe not the mystery that you think you're going to solve, but you know, but it you know, it draws you in, and you know, it was entertaining, at least to watch once. I'll say that. But that was my basic spoiler-free review of it. I think it's worth watch. I definitely do. Maybe at home on your own TV, you can turn up the brightness a little bit and maybe see some stuff I didn't see in the darkness. So that's, you know, if that's all you came for, and you don't want any spoilers, don't go beyond this point, because this is where I'm going to get into the stuff. You know, I'm still going to try to play it close to the vest, but I might accidentally say something that gives something away. And so, thank you for stopping by, and now we're on to the next thing. So, like, speaking of the jump scares and stuff, it's one, like, there was like one that made me kind of jump, but at the same time, it's like, you know, oh, he's gonna shut a door and there's gonna be a character standing there or something, you know, he's gonna do the thing, and there's gonna be a reflection of something in the mirror behind him, or, you know, just kind of the basic, that kind of thing. But I guess because I was so ingrained in the story and everything, like, I didn't really care so much. And then I said that there was, like, that atmosphere of the tension and the just the atmosphere of it, you know, like this old building. I mean, it looks like it's a place that has been there for, you know, decades, however long it's supposed to be there. It looks kind of old and a little bit, you know, maybe a little bit withered around the edges, and you know, I just like I said, the characters and the setting, and you know, there's this haunted room in the inn, haunted by a witch. You know, they trapped it there years ago. So there's some lore to the film that we get to explore, and on that note, I like the fact that, you know, this detail is dropped about the haunted room, and we actually get to spend quite a bit of time there, because it's like, you know how it's like the final boss. Like, people mention, oh, the haunted room, you know, and it's like the last thing in the film. It is not the last thing in this film. Like you said, you get to spend a lot of time there. I kind of remember, you know, it's like the final stage of the game or whatever. There was this old computer game that actually, I guess they're remaking for some kind of service. It was called The Seventh Guest. It's this old hotel where you get, trapped, and like, who was the seventh guest, and unraveling this mystery and what happened to these characters, whatever, blah 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 blah. But one of the first things you encounter is a locked room going to the attic. You do not get in. Well, I mean, I guess spoilers for that too. We're in the spoiler part. We're fine. Like, you don't get into that attic, and like, that's the end of the game, is getting into this attic. But getting into this haunted the hotel suite. No, the honeymoon suite. Like, we get there, and we, like I said, at least a good chunk of the movie is in this haunted room, for one reason or another. So that I very much appreciated, because it's like, you don't have to wait to the end of the film to get there and experience these things. There might be a deeper well, shall we say, than this haunted room, but there again, spoilery but not spoilery. I like it. Something else yet to discover or explore, even though we get to this haunted room. I did and the bug-eyed bunny thing. There's a reason for that. There is, it's not just this weird random, like, I kind of thought maybe like all the ghosts, the spirits, whatever, were going to like just look really fucking strange and stupid and weird. But there's a very specific reason for that character / apparition / whatever you want to call it to appear. So I will say that. And we get into the the history of our main character, obviously. And one thing I did kind of hate was another like horror movie trope, with the jump scares and the, oh my god, something's going to be there when you shut the door, whatever, blah blah blah, is just like dumb characters making, like, why would you do that sort of decisions? Like, for instance, there's this haunted room and it's always locked. There's an elevator you have to take to get to this haunted room, and there's always a gate in front of it that's locked. And this, one of our characters has an experience there, and he's relating his experience to our main character. But of course, we see it as a flashback scene or whatever. But he's like leaned, like, so, like the gate is closed, and it's like you're leaned up against the gate, and something like you're like, oh, something's back. It's like, for one thing, the elevator opens. Like, nobody should be coming down that elevator. The gate is locked. Or maybe this was before. Maybe I'm overthinking this. I don't know. Maybe this was before it was locked the whole time. I don't know, when they were supposed to have trapped the witch in there, But then it's like the elevator opens, like, and he just like stands there, like, and then not only that, like, when something like, he thinks something is behind him, but he doesn't open the gate, so the gate must have been locked, right? Because instead of like he takes out his lighter and sticks his hand through the gate to, like, move his little light around. I'm like, bitch, you haven't heard of a flashlight? Like, they don't have flashlights in Ireland? I'm pretty sure they fucking do. I don't know. Maybe there just wasn't one handy at the time. Like, he didn't want to, like, he was trying to figure it out. He didn't want to leave without seeing what was in the darkness, and he didn't have a flashlight at the time. I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things which, once again, it just kind of sets up one of those, like, basic bitch kind of, like, jump scare sort of moments, But it's like, I feel like it's I guess that's kind of spoilery in a way. There was another point I was going to make, but I forgot it by the time I got here. Like, it almost in some ways has, like, the Cloverfield effect, because whatever the entity, witch, blah blah blah, whatever it is, I don't feel like we ever actually fully see it necessarily. We see, like, some quick movements, or it's always like behind something. I don't know if we ever actually get a good look at it. So that's interesting. I guess that's spoilery enough. I guess. Oh, it's there. Unless it's magic mushrooms, who knows? It's there. I think. I won't say that. I was gonna say, was it all a dream? I don't know. But I remember the one thing that I was gonna say about there's a character at the beginning. I guess who's just kind of there to maybe have an interaction with our main character, and then he's like, he's wheeled away. It's like the owner, the old guy who like owns the hotel, whatever, blah 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 blah. And he's just kind of there. He's trying to scare the kids with the story of the witch, and blah 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 blah. And it's like, I mean, he's like wheeled away, and we never see him again. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like he was an important character that we should have spent more time with. Maybe they're planning a sequel. Maybe they're planning to maybe go into the history more so of because that's one thing that I feel like we get this this character coming into this situation, and then another situation happens where like one of our main characters goes missing, and it becomes more about the mystery of solving what happened to this person than necessarily going deeper into the lore of the hotel, the area, the witch itself, and like how did it get there, and all that other stuff. So maybe they're planning that for a future film. I don't really know. I would be interested in going and seeing, more so, like I said, digging more so into the lore, into the history of, how the situation came to be, so to speak. But so maybe we'll revisit that character in a future film. Maybe. I don't know. But it's just kind of like, it's kind of one of those, like, he feels like the guy people should be talking to. But there again, I mean, maybe with our series of events, you just don't get a chance to, like, go visit him wherever he is. But I feel like that's all that's on my notes. I even got down to my criticism already, that it was too dark. Too dark, man. I guess maybe that helps with the atmosphere and everything. Gloomy Ireland, rainy season, whatever. But yes, it was an entertaining film. I was trying to think if there was anything else that I was going to say. It's definitely worth at least one watch, I would say. And as I said, if they want to make other films in the future, maybe delving, deeper into the history of, I mean, I guess you don't necessarily need to know the history of it, but maybe it would just be like nice. Like it feels like there's a whole part of the film in some ways that is missing. But I mean, I guess maybe perhaps that's the point. Because it's like, I guess as an audience member, you do have all these questions, like, the honeymoon suite is supposed to be locked off because there's a witch. Oh, that's the lore. Like, there's a witch locked in there. Blah 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 blah. But then, as the film unravels, we do find there is a witch in there. So how did she get there? Like, did the old man, like, who was trying to scare the kids with the story of the witch in the beginning, like, what role did he play a role in that? Does he know there's a witch in there? Is that why he keeps it locked up? Whatever. Did he lock her in there? I don't know. There's just all of these, like, it just feels like there's all these unanswered questions that could be explored in a future film that I would go see. So just saying. I don't know, maybe make a Hokum 2 where, like eventually get to the prequel. I don't know. I don't know if we necessarily have to jump straight into the prequel, but kind of like with Weapons, they're talking about doing a prequel, the next film being a prequel film. Maybe that's the thing people are doing these days is, introduce an interesting character or situation and, leave the door open for those questions to be answered in the next film, I guess. But yes, it was good. I enjoyed it. I liked it. And maybe there's a future for Hokum. I don't know. Because it was weird. It almost seemed like it was going to be like this artsy, like weird avant-garde film or something, and then we just kind of get like kind of like a basic like mystery, what happened to this character, blah 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 blah, sort of thing. But I mean, that's the way a lot of horror movies are in some ways. It's just, but I feel like there's there's a deeper well. There's more to unravel here. There's more to there's bigger things than just this mystery that this film deals with going on in this situation, in this setting. And it's like, I feel like a lot of it is unanswered questions. That's kind of like, here's a situation that happens in this setting, but there's just so much more to this setting to explore, as I've already said like 3 or 4 times in a row. So hopefully they do. Maybe, I guess we'll see how well this film goes over. It was a Friday night. I went to the latest showing possible, like 10:15. That's why my movie didn't get out until a little after midnight. But I think there was like 3 other people in the theater with me, and like, this is the college town, so people should be looking for a scary movie, I would think. They seem to be pretty popular around here. I don't know. But yeah, at the latest showing possible. Of course, it could be the weekend before graduation at the college. So I mean, maybe people were studying or getting that last good party in before before finals and leaving town. I don't know. And there could have been more people in the earlier showings. I don't really know. I don't feel like you should go to an earlier setting of a horror movie and walk out of the theater with sunlight. It just doesn't, I like to watch a horror movie as late as possible and then walk home in the dark like a fucking psychopath. But, that's me. I have my own things to deal with, I suppose. But I don't know. So I don't really know. Like I said, I was one of 4 people in the 10:15 showing last night in my town. So we'll see how well it does, and if there's a future to unravel more mysteries, peel back more layers. We shall see. How white is my crack? Pretty white. I don't sunbathe nude or at all, so you can see. Look how I work Parks and Rec, so at least I got the farmer's tan going on. But other than that, so I can guarantee you my crack, very white, the whitest. But now that I've dropped that bit of my lore on you, I guess I'll say that was it. The film is entertaining. Go see it, or I almost don't want to tell people to wait. I mean, that's what most people are probably going to do anyway. Either pirate it or, wait until it comes out on a streaming service. Maybe it's popular enough on a streaming service, they'll make another one. I don't know, but I would almost say, I mean, maybe the screen wasn't bright enough. Maybe I don't know. I just kind of feel like that's part of the film, but anyway. So even if they make a second one, I don't care if it's dark again. Just make another one. Maybe. I would spend more time in this world. I definitely would. Even if it's I usually hate prequels. Not the biggest fan, but for this film, I want to know more. So I'd be cool with that. But other than that, go enjoy your weekend. Maybe go see a movie. Hey, maybe go see a scary movie. Rawr. And I've got Gail and Angela's wedding present to wrap. So we're going to see how that goes. I at least know what time the reception is now. I had to look it up in my text, because I remember I sent the information to Sean. So I was like, oh, I bet it's in that text. I could probably find that easier than the wedding and the reception invite that I got. So, although it's probably in this pile right here under my sketchbook. So, but yeah, next Tuesday, I'll be back with another sketch from my sketchy book. And Friday, I'll answer another question / do another update. But other than that, have a good rest of your weekend, and I shall see you for when I see you.